We are just a couple minutes past the hour, so we will go ahead and officially start our webinar. Thank you again to all of you for joining early, for being here today for this really heartbreaking and devastating topic of Ukrainian children who have been kidnapped and in some cases, in many thousands and thousands of cases, been deported to Russia, who have been orphaned by the war. This is a really urgent topic. We appreciate that you're not forgetting about Ukraine and that you're helping us keep the attention and focus on Ukraine right now at a time when it's very easy to be distracted by other news. So thank you so much for being here today. This webinar series is co-sponsored, is co-organized by Jeffrey Glynn, who's with us today from the Peace Corps Virtual Service, Roman Aleksenko, who's a community project manager based in Kyiv, by Olga Nikolska, who with isar.ednannia, and by myself, Sarah Wilson-Soki. I'm a political science professor at the University of Colorado Boulder. It's co-sponsored by Ponars Eurasia at the George Washington University and by isar.ednannia. We have Olga Nikolska here from isar.ednannia and the University of Colorado Boulder. This is a webinar format. Again, as many of you already know, you can ask questions and engage using the Q&A function on Zoom. The chat is disabled for attendees for security reasons, but we do hope that you'll be actively engaged through the Q&A. In the chat, you can see the link to the website for our speaker series, more information about isar.ednannia, links to our previous recordings as well, and my email address that you can email with questions and comments. For today, we have Maryna Lypovetska from the All-Ukrainian NGO Magnolia. Many of you likely already know that the documentary 20 Days in Mariupol recently won an Oscar. And the director, Mstislav Chernov, saying he wished he'd never made the movie. And I wish the same. All of us, I think, wish the same. One of the reasons that documentary is so powerful is that it shows children, babies even, who have been killed, who were killed in Mariupol, and who could not be saved by doctors after Russian shelling. And that atrocity is still happening. There's tens of thousands of children, even hundreds of thousands, that have suffered in many horrifying ways. So this is really an urgently important topic for us to be focusing on. I'll turn things over to Olga Nikolska of isar.ednannia. She will introduce our speaker for today and start our discussion. And as always, questions and reactions can go in the Q&A function in the webinar. So Olga, I will turn things over to you.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Hello, everyone. Good evening for us. Good afternoon for you. We are very happy to have you all here, and we hope that this heartbreaking topic will be of interest for you and will encourage further support of Ukraine, because it's not only the soldiers that are suffering on the front line, but the kids are suffering too. And unfortunately, today it happens that Russia is trying to steal our future, our children. That's why we invited our wonderful speaker Maryna. She has been working with Magnolia for I don't know how many years. Personally, I know her for at least 10 years, I think. So my first question to you, Maryna, will be about Magnolia as a whole. What is the history? How was it created? What it was the organization was doing? What was its primary goal before all this occupation and war started?
Thank you. Hello, everyone, and thank you for your attendance and attention to the topic. Yes, my name is Maryna. I'm from Kyiv, from Ukraine, and I work as a head of projects in All-Ukrainian NGO Magnolia. Our organization works more than 20 years in Ukraine, and I may say it became wide known amongst Ukrainian public because of our main project. It is called in Ukrainian Служба розшуку дітей, which is in English Missing Children Search Service. The main goal of this project is to assist in search for missing children and to reunite families. Which is interesting to mention, our organization was founded by a group of journalists. who had initially an idea to unite all media resources around the issue of missing children and to use widespread media resources as, for example, 20 TV channels, outdoor advertising agencies, social networks, bloggers, informational screens in public transport or on a railway station, etc., to share widespread information, posters with photos of missing child, the date of disappearance, his name and surname or her, and to encourage people, if they have seen this child, if they were witnesses, if they have any information, to report about this, because Ukraine is quite a big country. And it is indeed very important to engage just common citizens in search of missing children. All these years, of course, our main mission is to protect children's rights and to combat any form of violence against children.
Thank you very much, Maryna. Could you please tell us if the activities of Magnolia have changed when the occupation of part of Ukraine started in 2014? I'm pretty sure it did, but we'd like to know more what exactly was happening to children with the part of Ukraine occupied by Russia.
Of course, I may say that unfortunately, the issue of missing children is the issue for all the times and for all the countries. I'm sure the same in USA, in any country of the world, the same, it is an issue. But when we were established, the main issue for Ukraine was like stray children or children who lived on the streets. Because this, after this post-Soviet collapse, when we have this perestroika period in Ukraine, it was very difficult for all the society, and unfortunately, a lot of children were in the system gaps. But after 2010, I may say that situation, of course, since God became much better, including the situation with children and with social services, which covered more and more children, and children were under care, mainly with their families, or who were orphans were mainly with their foster families. But later on, everything changed, starting from 2014, from the beginning of occupation. Initially, we in Magnolia were faced with situations when, for example, children from Donetsk city, which became under occupation, they were evacuated by teachers or directors of institutions like orphanages on under-controlled Ukrainian territory. But you may heard about this or no, mainly children, even in Ukrainian institutions, mainly they are not like full orphans. They may have some relatives like uncles, aunts, etc., or some friends. And because of this situation, they couldn't, they were just forced to go somewhere else. On the unknown places, and their part of family members like uncles or grandparents stayed under occupation there. And we in Magnolia were faced with situations when we started to receive reports about children who were trying to flee, to run away from this evacuated institution and come back, for example, to Donetsk. But the issue was that there were, and there is still, like a military zone between this, like a military line between, for example, Donetsk and under controlled Ukrainian territory. And of course, it was very dangerous even for a child's life, because there were mines around, there were some finds, and you could meet these occupant soldiers, combatants, or someone else. Of course, it was dangerous. So we started in Magnolia to develop special program for those children. And me personally, personally and my colleagues, we came to the Donetsk region to work with those children, to prevent them from these runaways and to find other solutions for them, how to reunite with their family members or friends, etc. And we even had an idea, and it was offered by children, by themselves, to invite like a famous, some famous person, like a singer. We invited a Ukrainian rap singer to make a video for those children, like a video message and a song, to explain that please don't play risky games. It won't help. That run away, it's not an exit for you. It won't solve the issue. And with the options, what can they do in this situation? I forget to mention that except our main idea how to find missing children, I mentioned already, we are sharing information on the screens, media, etc., etc. Since 2014, by the way, in Ukraine, we are providers of European hotline for missing children. This number is 116000. It is the same number for each country in Europe. Which means that if, for example, a child is missing or a child wants to run away or something, where is this child? He or she can call on our hotline. It is for free for them and receive any kind of support. If a parent, for example, want to report that a child is missing, they can call this hotline and report Magnolia that they need our assistance. We will support them firstly psychologically, and then we will start this widespread media campaign to assist in search. And of course, all of these years, we were closely cooperated with Ukrainian police, first of all, later on to assist in search, because every information from witnesses we receive, we transfer it to police on the ground, trying to locate this child. But of course, after the start of the invasion, after occupation, we maintained more close cooperation with the other ministries, as the Ministry of Justice, Ministry of International Affairs, and later on with the Ministry of Reintegration, which is ministry like to reintegrate back occupied territories of Ukraine.
Okay, thank you so much, Maryna. Before we go to the present time, I'd like to ask you to tell us, I don't know, the most interesting story from the period of 2014-2022, if you have any.
Interesting question. Okay, I won't, you mentioned interesting stories, so I won't share with you like some bad stories because unfortunately they happened, but if to compare, of course, before the invasion, it was very rare, thanks God, if to compare with now.
That's
so,
why
for
I'm
example,
asking for interesting, not for sad, because
yes.
we're going into sad
yes.
right now, right after.
Okay. Then, for example, I have a lot of interesting stories. So we had two girls, they were one 11 and the second 12 years old. And those girls like to watch TV show called Orphaned. It's Ukrainian travel show where two people shows how can they travel without money. And it is very good for them, etc. So these girls watched this show, they were fans, and they decided like, oh, it is so easy and we want to travel without money too. So they took their luggage, they collected something like food from homes, etc. And they decided to run away and to hide because they knew their parents would search for them, of course. And they decided to hide in fields and then run through forests and to come to other part of Ukraine near the sea. They were from Kiev region and they wanted to travel to Odessa region, which is very far. I would say around 7 hours by car you shall drive. But they decided to travel by themselves. So we received, of course, a shocked call from their parents who found that girls were not in school and they believed the girls were in school. And the parents were shocked. They called us. We asked them, of course, firstly to call to Ukrainian police and to check what stuff did they took from home. And parents found out that they have took some food, like some lighters, etc., like some this luggage. And we started to disseminate this information, and it was a very huge search in Kiev and all around. All police forces asked volunteers and just common citizens to come to go through forests and through fields to assist to find those girls. And thanks God, finally we received firstly a call from a witness who reported us that on the on the road, this witness drove by car and he witnessed those girls, and we indicated this location to police, and police later on came there with volunteers, and thanks God girls were found, but it was very late evening. But thanks God they were safe and sound, they returned back. But yes, sometimes before the start of war and the invasion, the most common reason was that children run away by themselves because or love, or the second they wanted some adventures or something interesting. So we had something like that stuff.
Okay, thank you. It's a nice story with the happy ending.
Thank God, yes.
Yeah, I'm happy about that. Let's now move on to the beginning of full-scale invasion. Can you tell us a few words about what was going on, let's say, in the first month of war in Magnolia?
Yeah, everything was very difficult in first 2 months of war. Our office is situated near a central train railway station and near like energetical that's like a thermoelectrical station. Okay, it's like objects which can be targets for the rocket attacks.
It's like a power plant, yeah?
Yeah, like a power plant station, something like this. And of course, it was dangerous to come to our office. And we were on the different sides of Kiev, because Kiev is a big city, and between Kiev it is a river, Dnieper. And some of us were on one side of this river, some on the other side. We couldn't come to the office because first days, each day there were, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 rocket attacks, and we were just hiding all around. Someone came to their relatives in villages, for example. Someone stayed in Kiev, so it was a difficult period. And the most difficult for us was that our hotline for missing children, which I mentioned, it worked directly from office. And by rocket attack, there was damaged our line which provides connection for the hotline, and we lost this connection. So people couldn't call us. But we understood that indeed there is a need to really emergency to do something. And our initial idea was at least try to use internet possibilities to give people possibility to report us, to contact us somehow. And we created like chatbots, Telegram, Facebook, on website, different chatbots, and started to promote it for people. Like, if you need assistance, you can contact us. At least we are internet. And then we were, if telling you the truth, shocked, because if to compare, for 20 years before start of war, for our work, we assisted in search around 2,100 children, around these numbers. And then, after the start of the invasion, when we created this chatbot, we started to receive firstly hundreds of appeals, hundreds, day and night. People contacted us. They wrote us the horrible situation and the horrible circumstances while children were missing. As I mentioned previously, before war, the reason was because children ran away by themselves, but now we received information about children and whole families, for example, who went missing or under occupation or hiding in bomb shelters, and this building was destroyed by rockets, or someone told that parents were killed and a child was abducted by Russian soldiers. So there were a lot of horrible stories. Initially, of course, on the beginning of the invasion, and after, I may say, till February, March, till April, we already had more than 1,000 requests on search for missing children and people who wanted assistance. And the internet played a really good role in this because people under occupation, they didn't have mobile connection to call us, but internet at least worked and they had the chance to contact us. And the issue was that most part of police officers, representatives were involved in military actions to protect civilians because it's war. And even there were no possibilities for people to contact police to report that their children were missing. So we took, for these first horrible months, we took this on ourselves to receive those reports, to share the publicity appeals. And since 2017, we are members of International Federation Missing Children Europe, which unites NGOs like us from each country of Europe. And this played a good and very important role for us because when the invasion started, there were millions of refugees in panic, in house. People ran from Ukraine and they took even not their own children. For example, it was unimaginable what was going on, like rockets were falling on the streets and Russian soldiers on tanks were on the streets and some parents were killed, for example, and just a common citizen was seeing a child crying on the street near the bodies of their parents. And those people were trying at least to rescue those children and then took those children with themselves and trying then to cross the border from Ukraine to save those children. So later on, we had requests, for example, from parents were killed, yes, but there were uncles, aunts, grandparents who lived in other parts of Ukraine or in other cities, and they were trying to learn the destiny of this child, and they needed assistance to find those children. So here, a very good role played this Federation Missing Children Europe, who assisted us in search in European countries. But later on, in I think in start of April 2022, when first Russian army were, how can I say it, pushed out from Kiev region, yes, and they escaped. Some territories became deliberated from Kiev region, and that was the first time we understood that some children are not there anymore, but it is unknown where are they exactly. And believe me, at that time, no one could imagine that Russia preparedly was organizing this deportation of children. So no one could imagine that it will be not like, one time or one fact, a very rare fact. No, even they have collected children in groups to separate them from their parents, from their families, and to deport them.
Yeah, these stories are just breaking my heart. That's why when I was opening the discussion with you, I said that Russia is trying to steal our future. And it's just, these stories are just killing me. And I think it's now is the right time to pull up the official statistics of the government. And I'm trying to share my screen now. Here. So yeah, these are the official numbers by the government of Ukraine, and the statistics dating back from February 24th, 2022 up until March 14th, 2024. 535 children were killed by Russian attacks. 1,255 children were wounded. 2,099 children are considered to be officially missing. Luckily, 24,345 children were found, and according to the official statistics, 19,546 children were deported and or forcibly displaced. 388 returned, and there are 13 cases of sexual abuse against children that were officially recorded and reported. And if you can see the bottom line, it says it's impossible to establish the exact number of injured children due to active hostilities and the temporary occupation of a part of Ukrainian territory. I'm pretty sure that you, Maryna, can tell us more or more information, because I know that official statistics is not correct, especially on deported children. What numbers do you think are or will be correct as of today?
If telling you the truth, I can't for sure estimate the real numbers, because those numbers, like 19,000, those are children who were at least reported. So this is about those children who has still some relatives in Ukraine who may report about them. Unfortunately,
this means that someone is looking for them, right?
Yes, this means that someone is looking for them and someone has reported them, and this number includes too the orphanages, which were wholly taken by Russia and deported on Russian territory, for example.
And we know for sure that Russia did that, right?
Yes, we know for sure, of course. And
yeah, just to reconfirm.
Yes, and sometimes it is really known where exactly are those children as for now. But it is still unknown. For example, we don't have any possibility to come to Mariupol and to consider what is going on there. We don't have any possibility to come on a lot of other, unfortunately, territories. And we know that the most massive attacks and victims amongst civilians are under occupation. So unfortunately, I may say that there are a lot of children whose whole family were killed. And now there is no one here to report about them even. And only time and liberation of all Ukrainian territories would show what happened with them. And unfortunately, I will even share with you this. I didn't plan this, but it's not a secret, yes? Because when the invasion started, as every Ukrainian, we believed that it will not be so long. And now we have the third year already since the start, and no one knows how long it may take. And the circumstances shows me, the things what Putin is doing shows me that they have a real strategy to take those children and to leave them, to grow up in Russia. They're trying to re-educate those children. They have even the special program for re-education of Ukrainian children, and Putin signed a lot of money to this program. And there was created a special ministry who is responsible for the education of Ukrainian children, etc. So if they are taking those efforts, they have real plans that those children would stay there. And as for now, I have to think not only about, of course, all possibilities which I can do, which our organization can do, we will use, because we are using, for example, open source intelligence technologies to look for those children who were deported to Russia. It's like analysis from web cameras, facial recognition, etc., etc. We still receive a lot of information from witnesses from occupied territories, from Ukrainian citizens, and sometimes even from Russia, from Ukrainian citizens who were deported to Russia or who have relatives in Russia. They know us, they believe in us, they rely on us because we are non-political, we are non-government, we only want to assist children. So that's why they give us this information. But now I'm thinking that we need to explore possibilities to create DNA database of relatives who are in Ukraine, who are searching for their children, because I have looked for other experiences in the world of such precedents. For example, of course, in modern world, it never happened that some war country will particularly deport children. But there were other experiences in other countries. For example, if I'm not wrong, in Argentina, I suppose, there were some successful experiences when from mothers were abducted children. Later on, those children grew up and they started trying, when they become adults, they started trying to find where are their real relatives. And there was like created DNA base of those relatives a long years ago. And later on, when those children became adults, they could by themselves find information, where are they from, who were their real relatives, and what happened with them. So I'm just sharing with you, it's my next strategical step, what I'm thinking about. I hope everything will work. Of course, as for now, we are doing everything which we can. And I'm all the time advocating united efforts on all levels, on international level, on diplomacy level. I'm attending some parliamentary hearings in European Parliament. I encourage any diplomacy efforts. Yes, but if we have more than 19,000 deported children, of course, I have to think about all of them. And if we can't right now make something to take all of them back, I want to give them the hope for future.
Yeah, to give them a chance to come back home, right?
Yeah.
I'd like to remind our listeners that Maryna is a representative of just one Ukrainian NGO, which has been working in Ukraine for over 20 years. And now I'd like to share some data about this particular NGO with you. So I'm trying to share my screen, and Maryna will tell us more about the numbers from 2023.
Yeah, it's about last year. Yeah. It's only numbers for the last year, and you may see that only for 1 year of this horrible invasion, we received more than 2,100 calls. All of them, of course, we reacted and we provided some support, mainly social and legal consultations to those parents and psychological support for parents who were in desperate. And of course, we cooperate with governmental structures and other NGOs, and this redirecting means that we direct information to police, to Ukrainian Ombudsman office, etc., to other governmental structures to assist in search for those missing children. Mainly, you may see that, of course, first number who called us are parents, and the second it's witnesses, which is really important because people are in Ukraine are really very active, I may say. And even now, when we have, for example, a child, it's for now exactly, we are searching for 2 children who went missing not in Ukraine but in European country, in Slovakia particularly. And we started to share information about those children in Ukrainian language by our media resources. And we started to receive from Slovakia calls from people who live in Slovakia and from Ukrainian citizens who live in Slovakia. So they're looking for those children even when they are abroad. So Ukrainians, I love you. You are really very active. So that's a little bit about our statistics on calls.
I just have a short question about this 2% of children who call themselves. Is it real?
Yeah, why
Can
not?
you tell us? Can you tell us like more of at least one story of such a call?
Of course. We in two variants of cases we can receive calls from children. Firstly, if they experience some difficulty, something is worrying them, and they are thinking about run away, and they need some assistance or to talk just with adult, to ask whom to contact, what to do, etc., etc. But sometimes we receive calls from those children who are even in our search, because and it was before World War II, because when a child ran away by him or herself, for this child, it may be an option how to take attention from parents, for example. Yes, how to show their parents, I'm here, look at me, I need your support. It's like protest form.
Yes.
And then those children run away, and then they want to come back, but they afraid that parents will like argue on them, like parents
Punish
will
them for
angry.
that.
Yeah, like parents will be very angry and punish them. And we give to those parents always, we create TV program, video messages, etc. And we invite parents always to say, like, people, I encourage you, if you have any information, please contact Magnolia and give this information. And the second part is for your child. And with this message, a parent may say everything he or she wants, like, I love you, please don't be afraid, I'm waiting for you, I'm worrying about you, please come back. And when the child seeing this, he understands, or she really, that he is needed, that he won't be punished, that he is loved. And the child can call us by ourselves, asking the assistants how to return home, how to maintain relationships with parents, etc. So it's like these cases.
Yeah, great story. Okay, now I want to show the next
And
slide.
Olga, I was going to point out, in case you didn't see it, we do have one question in the
Yeah, I
Q&A.
saw. I just
Okay.
want to finish with numbers, and then we're going straight to the questions. So be prepared and please put your questions into Q&A. Here, one more. Just one more and we're done.
Okay. So yes, it's the numbers of children. So we assisted in search means that we shared this information, as I mentioned, on widespread media resources, and we are using OSINT technologies when it is about deported children, for example. Yes, open source intelligence search, etc. We even were contacted by Bellingcat network. If you know, it's like investigators network called Bellingcat,
Yes.
to assist in search for those children. And as a result, in previous year, 606 children were happily found and reunited with their parents, returned. A lot, you may see that a lot of children still are in our search, of course, because even about, for example, we have found information about children who are in Russia now, and we know their location. But to return them back, it's a really difficult process. When one of parents has or grandparents has personally come to Russia to reunite with this child, and they have to cheat. Like, we will not return to Ukraine, we will stay to live in Russia, like these things, because Russia will not allow them to just simply come back to Ukraine. No. And it is indeed a risky process for parents to come there, because there were already facts when parents on their way were taken in Russia, were taken by this like security service. I don't know how to call it in Russia. and they were detained, and they were Russian were saying like, you are terrorists, you want to make terror on our territory, etc. They are under risk to be imprisoned. So now this process is really, really complicated as for now. That's why I really encourage, I know it is something new, but I know that there are several successful cases supported by Qatari embassy in Moscow, when parents hasn't risked so much, and Russia give through territory of embassy those children, and then they were somehow on the planes transferred to reunite in the third country with their Ukrainian
Somewhere in Turkey
relatives.
or Qatar,
Yeah,
right?
something like this. Yes. So yes, it is good, but it is very rare facts. And for most cases, which I know from our practice, really those people had to risk their lives and to come through military zone to come to Russia, and only then to reunite with their children. But the main issue is if parents are serving in Ukrainian army, then they have no chances.
Yeah, we know that. We know that this, I don't know even how to call it, the process of being accepted into Russia from Ukraine is very, 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 very complicated, and it complicates the situation even more.
Mm-hmm.
So we have two questions in our Q&A. The first one is from Jacqueline McKisson. I'm sorry if I mispronounce your names. I'm not very good with pronunciation of foreign names. Sorry again. Are the numbers for missing/taken children inclusive of those being held in non-recognized territories, like NE portion of Ukraine and Crimea, northeastern, I think? Or are the numbers solely reflective of children taken to formal territory of Russian Federation? So again, are the numbers include occupied territories, or it's only those that were taken to Russia?
Do you mean our numbers or numbers mentioned on Children of War?
It's question to Jacqueline. I don't know what she means, but let's say that we are talking about this 19,000.
So on the website, I have opened website now. Here is written deported and or forcibly displaced persons, no children. This means that it includes displaced on occupied territories. I will explain a little bit. When children were taken to Russia, it is called deported. The process is called deportation according to Geneva Convention. When the children are forcibly displaced or taken on some occupied territories where they didn't live there. They live, for example, in Kiev region, and then they took them and put them in Crimea, imagine. It is forcibly displacement. So this number includes both scenarios.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. And we also have a question from Chuck Bonza. Were the children under 10 years old runaways or kidnapped cases? I think Chuck is talking about your statistics of 2023, and the numbers of children older than 10 were like much bigger. So, but the question is about younger ones. Did they run away or kidnapped?
These young age children, usually they don't run away, even on not under war circumstances. Even before war, if we had those cases, there was about some criminal, something connected with criminal. Now, after the invasion started, if you are talking about our report, yes, those children were kidnapped, deported, or displaced.
Okay, thank you so much. You started to talk a little bit about children missing in Slovakia or something like that. And I know that you know a lot of cases when children were taken abroad from Ukraine, evacuated, fleeing, whatever reason there was. And that you were trying to locate children in Europe. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Or maybe even in America, I don't know, but you'll tell us now.
Yes, as we are members of this federation, Missing Children Europe, it is very lucky us that we joined this federation in 2017 when nothing like this happened and no one could imagine that it may be. But indeed, we received requests on assistance in search for our Ukrainian children in Europe. And we are only one organization in Ukraine which can do this because Ukrainian police works only on territory of Ukraine. They can't search abroad. To search abroad, you have to cooperate with national police in this country where a child is missing. So we are like kind of link creators between Ukrainian side and Ukrainian missing child somewhere abroad. We connect through this federation, Missing Children Europe. We can connect with NGO on the ground and with any kind of authority like police or social services or migration services to assist in search. And we have indeed established cooperation with Interpol to assist in these searches. And I'm happy to share that mainly we have all successful cases in Europe. Now we have two children who are missing in Europe, particularly as for now, whom I'm searching. But we have more than 60 successful cases of location of those children. They're safe and sound. There were different situations, but we pay attention after the children are found. If their relatives are in Ukraine, and it is often like this, that a child is somewhere there abroad and the parents are here. Then we pay attention of authority of those countries to care about this child, to give him or her caregiver, not to be like in a system gap, just lost nowhere.
Yeah, I know. We also have a comment from Jacqueline McKisson. I'm aware of an entire orphanage that was seized and forcibly displaced. My former church in Kiev, working with American missionaries, were able to recover them along with the orphanage director. They were given safe refuge in Tbilisi, Georgia. Thank you so much for sharing, Jacqueline. It's a very nice and touching story. I also in your report, I also saw that you were documenting war crimes in these past 2 years. Were these stories that you were documenting only about children, or like everything you saw?
No, mainly it's about children because our main mission first of all is to assist children. So yes, it was something new for us, and in reaction of these horrible things which we received requests, we on our hotline, as just we are known organization in Ukraine, we started to receive requests from different people in different situations, not only about missing children, but about different facts. Sometimes about tortures of children on occupied territories, for example, sometimes about raping and other, very unfortunate and unfair facts. And in response to this, we, with National Police of Ukraine, General Prosecutor Office, and Ministry of Digital Transformation, we created a portal called Stop Crime UA, which allows any citizen who is witnesses of crime to report us about this crime. And for example, because we know people, it's war, everything may happen, and especially on occupied territories, people are afraid to report because they are risking their lives. They may be prosecuted there, but they can just even anonymously send the report to us, to Magnolia, and then we receive this information, and officially, on behalf of our organization, we write official statement to General Prosecutor, to National Police, to other stakeholders, to conduct official investigation and to protect victims of this crime.
Yeah, we know that anonymity is extremely important for those residing on the occupied territories. We have a question, or I don't know, the hand raised from Roman Alexenko, one of our organizers. Roman, you're welcome to ask or speak.
Thank you, Olga, and thank you, Maryna. I know that we also have a question from Jacqueline again. But my question for Maryna is like, have you had a chance to talk to the children who have been brought back from the Russian detention, basically? What kind of stories are they telling us? Are they telling you? What did they have to go through while they were under the Russian occupation?
Yeah, I had such experience, but I suppose I had experience to speak with those children who were under the hardest circumstances. So stories, of course, are not happy at all. For example, we from the very beginning of invasion, we had one very I would say like not exclusive, but I don't know how to explain this case when a child, a teenager boy, was abducted under occupation by Russian soldiers, not even Russian, but this Chechen soldiers, because he is the son of Ukrainian governmental representative, head of Zaporizhia region. His father is Ukrainian head of Zaporizhia region. And his son, unfortunately, lived separately from him, and he became under occupation. And when those Russian soldiers learned who is he, they abducted him and put him in a basement. Like it was like occupied Ukrainian police department, but they used this police department to torture Ukrainian civilians. And they put this boy there and in camera. He told later on to me that he have heard the sounds the screams of Ukrainian civilians who were tortured in camera next to him. And later on, these soldiers forced this boy, his name is Vlad, they forced him to wash blood in this camera. So he spent 1 month, even more than 1 month, in this captivity, because it was not only like a deportation or something. No, it was really captivity of the child. And these people, Russian soldiers, they blackmailed the father, like he must to do something for them to come on Russian side. Otherwise, they won't release his son, and otherwise, they will kill his son. So it was really a very difficult situation, uncommon situation, because they have not only like displaced this child, they have really captivity, put him in captivity. And in this situation, indeed, a good role played high media attention and international attention, because we, as much as we could, we shared this story anywhere, even in European Parliament. And European Parliament twice sent, promoted the resolution about particularly the situation and release of Vlad Burak. And thank God, later on in July, I remember because it is my birthday, on the 9th of July, this boy was released and reunited with his father. And later on, we speak with this boy. And of course, it was a very horrible experience for a child, teenager age, to hear this, to see this. But the boy, he was very he had like adult logic. After all this, he was saying, he was thinking, he spoke like adult, and he says like, I always knew that my father will come and take me. I always knew that my father will find the solution and how to protect me. But later on in the end, and he was very serious when he was sharing about this experience and this everything. But later on, in the very, very end of our communication, he became like a very small child, and he said, I will never, after this, I will never go anywhere from my father. And it was the end of our communication.
Yeah, of course, the boy was severely traumatized by despicable things that Russians are doing here in Ukraine, and I'm so sorry to hear that. We have one more question from Jacqueline. She's becoming our best friend today. Speaking of war crimes, notably Bucha area, how are the orphanages in Vorzel and Borodyanka? Are those children safe? If you know anything, Maryna, you don't have to, but if you know something, please share with us.
I know that children were deported. I don't know about Borodyanka. I know that from Vorzel, children were deported, and unfortunately, their destiny for me is unknown.
This is so sad. Sorry to hear that. We also have a comment from Irina Reuter. Thank you, everyone. There's a film called Uprooted, an investigation into Russia's abduction of Ukrainian children. The entire film is on Kiev Independent YouTube channel. So our attendees feel free to watch the film, and I think it'll give you or provide you with more information in addition to what you've heard today. You started to talk as the European Commission was actively engaged in searching for or in release of Vlad from captivity, and this was actually my next question about your advocacy efforts. If you could elaborate on that, it would be great.
Okay, so since the start of the invasion, we received, which is of course good, more and more requests, firstly from international press, and indeed it confirms that in some cases it really plays a big role when people from different countries, from different parts of the world know the story of the child, and it makes like a pressure. Because finally about the story of Vlad Burak, we asked why they released you, what they said, what was their motives.
Yeah.
And he said the reason was because this was not nice for their image, because
really?
yes, because Russia is trying to use propaganda messages like we are saving Ukrainian poor orphans, we are evacuating them, etc. But when this story, like this fact about captivity of a child and torture, became well known, of course it destroys propaganda and it makes not good image. And this story came to Kadyrov. Kadyrov is the head of these Chechnya soldiers who serves Russia. And he directly said, it is not good for our Chechnya image. No, you have to release this boy. And this was the result. So firstly, yes, we started about media, but later on, via our connections with Missing Children Europe, who is based in Brussels, we received more and more contacts with European Parliament, with deputies, with the Council of Europe, and with other structures, which are indeed, how can I say this? Небайдужі, Оля, help me please to translate
they care
this
about
word.
the topic.
Yes,
or
they care.
interested in the topic, yeah.
Yes. So I would say that even not they care, but they when I face them, because when you, I don't know, maybe when you hear about this in the news or something, it makes, of course, impression on you. But it is not that you know something directly.
Yeah.
And then when you meet a person who says like me, who spoke with those parents directly, or who know the horrible stories how the parents were killed and children were separated from them or wounded, etc., then I see that they really feel something and they want to assist. And I truly believe that still there are people who want to assist. Still there is a possibility that those children will be released and they will return.
Yeah, let's pray for that. Thank you so much, Maryna. We don't have actually any more questions, so I'm calling for the last chance to ask the question. because it's already the top of the hour and we don't want to keep you longer than you need to be. So if we don't have any more questions, I'd like to thank Maryna for spending this hour with us. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for sharing the stories. Thank you so much for everything that you do. And I'm so impressed with the work that just one organization can do, and the stories that success stories that you can share with us is unimaginable. And I'm so happy that here in Ukraine, we have people like you and organizations like yours. So thank you so much.
Thank
Somehow
you very much.
I cannot open Q&A, and it shows me.
There's one question from Natalia Layer. It says, how can everyday citizens help spread the message or work of your organization?
You may come on our website. I suppose Ola or someone has shared the website in chat, and we have Olga, can you share please in chat too our separate website, Missing Children Search Service, Служба розшуку дітей. It's a separate website with the database of missing children. And thank you for this question. You can share just information about our work or page when we place photos of missing children. And on our website, you may find the part called like help us or support us, something like this. Here is a possibility how you can support our efforts in Ukraine.
Thank you so much, Maryna. I've posted in the chat the web address for missingchildren.org.ua.
Maryna, I want to thank you for as a father of two teenage sons. There were times when I had to turn on my camera because I got really emotional about the stories that you had to tell, and I could possibly see expression on my friend's Jeff's face too. Like as a father of I think 5 children, it was really difficult to hear some of the stories that you had to share with the audience. Even now, I'm choking up. It's just horrible that our children had to go through this experience in this day and age. But thank you for doing an important work. It really means a lot to many, many, many lives, and you are saving lives. And I want you to have enough resilience to deal with all of these stories. Thank you so much, and thank you, everybody. You did an amazing job.
We also have a comment from Jacqueline. She's saying thank you for your work and God bless you.
Thank you everyone for hearing us, and thank you for your support. And believe me, yes, I shared the horrible stories with you because you asked me a lot about that cases, and that's what came on my mind. But believe me, much more there are happy stories. And since we all are here, I truly believe that much more will be happy stories, and we will do everything to prevail good stories.
Thank you so much, Maryna, for your optimism. It's really heartbreaking. And we have a comment from Laila Roldan Vasquez. Great work, thank you, and congratulations. Thank you, Laila, for being here with us today and for listening, for joining. I think in closing, I'd like to say thank you for all our guests. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for supporting Ukraine. Please continue to do so. We really need your support, and we will be nowhere without you, because it's only in difficult times that you understand that the shoulder to lean on is the very important thing. We have a comment from Edward Ma. Thank you for your difficult work. And from Natalia Layer, thank you for your amazing work. Maryna, all this goes to you, and please pass our best regards to Evgenia Tkachenko, your everlasting director. I don't know how to say that, but she's great, and our best regards to her. Ibrahim Muradov also says, thank you very much for organizing this event. And this is for us.
And this is for you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sometimes we get that too, you know. Thank you very much, guys. I think we will be closing, and I'll pass the mic over to Sarah, who will tell us some closing words, and we will be closing.
Oh, and also I think Jeffrey Glenn would also like to speak as well. Jeffrey, if you want to go ahead.
I thank you, Ramon, for your comment, and Nina, thank you for the work that you're doing. I would like to ask the audience, you know, taking care of our children is a primary responsibility, and I would like to ask the audience not only to share the information here today, but to try and reach out to somebody in your social or professional or personal network and ask them to just do one thing, you know, not doesn't have to be monumental, just one thing to make the world a better place for our kids, and particularly the kids in Ukraine. So as a parent and a father and as a son. So anyway, thank you for being here today. I really appreciate the time and your service.
And the same, I'll echo those same sentiments. I mean, as a mother of 2 young kids, to listen to these stories and see the pictures of those children is just, it's utterly devastating to hear that. And thank you to our audience. Many of you join us every week. We have a dedicated and regular audience in our webinar series that we're tremendously grateful that you join. It means a great deal to have people interested in knowing what's going on the ground. We want you to know the work of these everyday heroes like Maryna Lypovetska, who are fighting for Ukraine right now. We're not a slick media production, and we're not a purely academic approach. And we think that this serves an important role in telling you what's really going on. So thank you. Come back. As Jeff said, if you could just tell a couple of people in your network about our series and share our website, all of that's in the link. And you can see on our website for the speaker series, links to Magnolia, which are also in the chat, how to support these NGOs that are doing the on-the-ground work, because the reality is that Ukraine is surviving because of these NGOs, because of these civil society organizations and these very local efforts. It's a remarkable story of how Ukraine is surviving right now. And it is these small-scale local efforts that make all the difference. So thank you for coming. Come again. Please tell 2 people in your network. Please see how you can support these NGOs. Tremendous thank you to Maryna Lypovetska for coming today. Thank you. Given all the work that you're doing to do this today, is just tremendously important. So to all of you.
There's a question. When will today's recording be available? Can it be reposted?
Yes, it should be available very shortly. It will take us just a couple of hours, I think, or possibly tomorrow because of the time difference with Ukraine.
I think on Monday.
But okay, I think on Monday.
It's the end of the business day today here, so I can't ask to post it. So Monday it is, and we'll add it to the website, Andy, to the website that we shared in chat numerous times, and you will be able to watch it or to share it or to spread the word in any way you can. Thank you.
That's right. And if you've registered, we've added you to our email list, so you'll continue to get announcements from us. So thank you, everyone. We will officially conclude the webinar now.
Thank you so much for coming. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, Junior.